It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. Slight little technical glitch there as we went live. If you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. We've had quite a few new subscribers recently, which welcome to all of you. We regularly do Travel and Cruise Industry News on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock. Talk about all facets of the travel and cruise industry and other stuff which comes up. Before we get to the news today, on a personal note, of course, you guys know that there was no show on Thursday. I had the port installed for my chemotherapy coming up tomorrow, or Monday rather. The procedure itself was not near as bad as I thought it was going to be. The after effects were much worse than I thought they were going to be. And so, you know, folks, what they did, they went in my neck. As a matter of fact, you can see it. They went in my neck and they stuffed this thing down. The port itself is down here in my chest, but they go in the neck and they run it all down there. Anyway, and you're awake through the whole thing, and it's not the greatest thing in the world. But it's after the fact that my neck has been in a tremendous amount of pain. So the bottom line, folks, I've spent a couple days here on heavy-duty drugs just to cope, because it was the after effects was way worse than the procedure. Feeling a little better today, although it's very difficult for me to move much at all because of what all that's in there. And I know that will go away in time. Of course, we go right in and start in on the chemo treatments on Monday is the first one. My weekly journal, by the way, folks, I'm going to attempt to do it from the chemo lab on Monday. At least I'm sure I can't go live with all that equipment and stuff in that building, the cancer center. I'm sure I can't get a signal enough to go live without taking a chance on screwing somebody's x-rays up or something. But I will try to videotape the report from the chemo lab on what it's really like to be taking chemo, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever it is. So, all right, getting on with the news today. And this was kind of a breaking story this morning, folks. So it was, if you looked at the setup for today's show, it wasn't in the list. This has changed 3 or 4 times in the last 10 days. But apparently the CDC has gotten its act together on this one now. But basically, Mexico became a popular hotspot for U.S. citizens seeking to get away from COVID-19 and all its restrictions. With the proximity to the U.S., cheap flights, and lax entry requirements, Americans flooded popular destinations like Cancun, Tulum, Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico City even. The CDC recently updated its recommendation for travel to Mexico in light of the worsening global health crisis. The CDC has now assigned Mexico a level 4 very high COVID-19 designation and said that all travel to the country should be avoided. Now, if you must travel to Mexico, here's what's recommended. Travelers who Travelers who still plan to travel to Mexico should get tested for coronavirus 1 to 3 days before travel to Mexico, and again 1 to 3 days before departure back to the United States. Upon return to the U.S., the CDC recommends another test 3 to 5 days after travel, and the CDC also recommends that you stay home for 7 days after travel or for a full 10 days if you don't get tested. So that's what's going on in Mexico, and that's of course the airline folks are going to lose out on more travel probably, which they don't need. But so that was in this morning. The reason it's been strange is it's gone from level 4 to level 3, back to level 4. They just couldn't seem to keep their mind on what was going on down there. And finally, it's at level 4, and that's the high one. So, all right, that gets us to the lead story today, and this is purely a response to our lead story all the way back on Tuesday now, since I wasn't here on Thursday. The quantum of the Seas false positive. The quantum of the Seas guest that tested positive for COVID-19 was now retested negative 3 times, according to the Singapore Health Ministry. The guest, said to be an 83-year-old male, has now retested negative at the National Public Health Laboratory. A second test came back negative, and a third test that followed up on Thursday was also negative. Guests were temporarily quarantined in their staterooms mid-cruise on Wednesday morning. When the guest tested positive, the ship came back to Singapore a day early with the ship's COVID-19 outbreak prevent plan fully in place. Close contacts of the guests were also isolated and underwent further testing, and it all turned out negative. Guests aboard the ships disembarked Wednesday evening to go home, with, of course, their sail cut short. Now, here's the part that's goofy. The next cruise, which was scheduled to depart on the 10th, was canceled. They completely canceled the cruise, and the company said they cited an overabundance of caution. So we need to maybe change, fine-tune some of these procedures, folks. You had one test on one person that was positive, and they changed everything on the cruise ship for everybody because of it, including shutting the cruise down and shutting down the next cruise. And then when they retested the dude, he's tested 3 times now as negative. So he wasn't positive at all. That was a false positive. We know that that's going to happen. It creeps up some. Maybe we need to start, if somebody tests positive before we jump through hoops, maybe we need to test them several times and proceed with caution from there, as opposed to making the radical departure and screwing everybody's plans up. I don't know. I just get some bad feelings about this one. So, all right. While I was going through this procedure on Thursday, the chairman of the House Committee of Transportation and Infrastructure, Peter DeFazio, Democrat from Oregon, and chair of the House Subcommittee on Coast Guard and Maritime Transportation, Honorable Sean Patrick Maloney, a Democrat from New York, called on leaders of the Department of Health and Human Services and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention to deliver COVID-related records they requested more than 7 months ago relating to the cruise industry. The documents are a key part of the committee's ongoing oversight efforts regarding the actions taken by both Carnival Corporation and the CDC in response to the threat of COVID-19 on cruise ships. In letters to the HHS Secretary Alex Azar and Robert Redfield, of course, CDC Director, DeFazio and Maloney stated that the lack of response was completely unacceptable. Months ago, our staff was told that the CDC and HHS had identified an estimated 7,000 documents that were potentially responsive to the records request. So far, they only sent them 180 pages. Well, on the one hand, I mean, if Congress wants the information, you got to send it to them, folks. I mean, you're still a political organization. On the other hand, you know what I think about these politicians? typically what they do is they stick their nose in the middle of something and they never follow through with everything, and they can screw it up worse. So, and I'm not saying this is the case, but both of these gentlemen are known to be very much anti-cruise to start with. They have a long history of giving the cruise industry grief. And I can only assume that that's going to be one of those. Now, also, I would say these two are also a member, of course, of the House of Representatives. And right now, I am totally PO'd at everybody in Washington. You know my feelings about politicians, folks. If they're running their mouths, if those lips are moving, they're lying. And that's what Congress has been doing to the American public again. Here's another week that these slimy, do-nothing, no-good politicians have slunk out of Washington and gone home for the weekend without coming through with the stimulus package that the American public needs, has to have to survive. Now, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. This is both of them. If they're a Republican running their mouth, they're lying. If it's a Democrat running those lips, he's lying. All of them. They're doing nothing but lying. And they're doing nothing for the American public. They're doing nothing for Americans. They care nothing about America, and they care nothing about Americans. And it's about time, folks, you guys start waking up to this situation for what it is. And not only do I blame the politicians who are useless, totally useless, both sides of the aisle, that keep this crap up, but I'm blaming you people too, the American public. You guys that are the 114 million people that are getting evicted this week, and the people who didn't have a Thanksgiving dinner. People have no idea how they're going to pay for Christmas for their kids this year. I'm blaming you too. Not because of these do-nothing politicians, but by the fact that you keep voting for them. And I don't care if you're a Republican, you're sitting back and saying, oh, no. It's not the Republicans, it's those damn Democrats. And if you're a Democrat, you're saying, oh, no, it's not the Democrats, it's those damn Republicans. People, both of them are lying to you. Both of them are totally ridiculous. They're doing nothing for the American public, nothing for Americans in general, and we need to quit voting for them. That's the way we'll get rid of them. They're useless, all of them. And it's about time you people got it through your thick brains that you're part of the problem, because you keep putting the same ones back in office over and over and over and over and over, and they keep screwing you every day. Now, they got 4 days until they go home for the Christmas break. And hopefully, hope to God, they get a stimulus package passed before they slink out of town for the holidays. But don't give them a whole lot of credit, folks. They should have done this 3 months ago. But they're useless, all of them, Republicans and Democrats. Get rid of all of them. That's what I say. I'll never vote for an incumbent again. Never. Said there was going to be a rant today. All right, Carnival announced Wednesday that they would be delaying dry docks for 3 ships. Of course, I'm catching up, folks, since I wasn't here Thursday. As a result, the ships will not be part of the current in-progress rollout. Instead, they'll remain out of service until later this year, with 2 not slated to sail until fall. Carnival Valor, Carnival Magic, and Carnival Paradise were scheduled to undergo refurbishments early in 2021 before returning to service. Now those plans will instead shift to some point later in the year. Carnival advised that it has canceled cruises on Carnival Magic up to and including embarkation on September 24th. Carnival Paradise up to and including embarkation on May the 31st, and Carnival Valor up to and including embarkation on September the 11th. So 3 ships done for the year. All right. Not everybody's bad as those do-nothing politicians in D.C. Ugh, the Washington Slugs. Florida business owner who was once down on his luck is given back by covering the utility bills of 114 families who were facing disconnection. Michael Esmond generously started last year when he paid the utility bills of 36 households in his community of Gulf Breeze. This year, with both Hurricane Sally and COVID-induced economic turmoil hitting the city, he thought he needed to up the ante. This year, to me, probably is more meaningful than last year with the pandemic and all the people out of work having to stay home, Esmond told CNN reporter. Hurricane Sally slammed us pretty good and hurt a lot of people. We still have a lot of blue roofs here. That's the tarps roofs, folks, in case you missed out on that one, where they're just covered with tarps. Esmond donated $7,615 to pay for the past due bills of 114 households, according to Joanne Oliver, the city's utility billing supervisor. They sent out holiday cards telling people that the bills have been paid. Hats off to Mr. Esmond for such a courageous effort at helping folks. All right, Virgin Voyages announced that it's pushing back the inaugural voyage of the first ship, the Scarlet Lady, to the spring of 2021, as well as the debut of the second ship, the Valiant Lady, until the fall. Virgin said this was the reason for such a long delay. The action is a testament of our commitment to prioritizing the health and well-being of our crew and sailors, whose safety is always first and foremost. Now, these poor people, they're trying to get a business off the ground. They now have the second, I think the second ship's about done, finished with the construction. 2 ships, they have not sold a ticket yet. Not a one. Have not had a single fare-paying cruise yet. Sad. All right, Celebrity Cruises is offering exclusive airfare rates on cruises to Alaska in 2021 when you book by January 31st. The cruise line's new Up Alaska program has airfare starting at just $99 a person on any 2021 Alaska cruise and on 2 of their cruise ships, Celebrity Solstice and Celebrity Eclipse. The airfare is good from 20 airports around the country through the cruise line's Flights with Celebrity program. So, Celebrity's trying to get you up there to Alaska real cheap and then get on their boat to see Alaska. All right, folks. A little words of wisdom before I go over and see who's here today. A pastor entered his donkey in a race and it won. The pastor was so pleased with the donkey that he entered into a race again and it won again. The local newspaper read, "Pastor's ass out front." The bishop of the pastor got upset and told the pastor not to enter the donkey in another race. The next day, the local paper read, "Bishop scratches pastor's ass." This was too much for the bishop, so he ordered the pastor to get rid of the donkey. The pastor decided to give it to a nun at a nearby convent, so the local people hearing this news posted the following headline the next day: "Nun has best ass in town." The bishop fainted. He informed the nun that she would have to get rid of the donkey, so she sold it to a farm for $10. The next day, of course, the paper read, "Nun sells ass for $10. This was too much for the bishop, so he ordered the nun to buy back the donkey, lead it out to the plains where it could run wild. The next day, the headlines read, Nun announces her ass is wild and free. The bishop was buried the next day. So that's our report on religion this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, let's go see who's over in the chat room today. Amy's with us. Yes, she's first in line for today's rant. Sonny's here. Good morning, Sonny. Good to see you. Rant ready. John Reitmeyer up there in Minnesota. No snow in Minnesota. That's amazing. Tom Henry's with us. Tom's over in Richmond. Good to see you, Tom. Nikki down in Jacksonville's with us. Oh, Cindy came home. I was going to ask Tom how Cindy's doing. She came home yesterday doing better. Glad to hear that. The trip to Florida on Wednesday is still a go. Good luck. We're thinking about you. Yeah, best 2 out of 3 sounds good before ending the cruise. Rob's with us. Just got back from a successful trip to West Virginia. Where were you in West Virginia, Rob? Just out of curiosity. And where in Kentucky are you? Louisville or Lexington or someplace else? So I know you're in Kentucky someplace. Of course, that's my stomping grounds out there. Sonny says ongoing learning curve for the cruise lines. Yeah, I hate it goes. Everything goes haywire over something that was false. It wasn't even the truth. So Bonnie's with us. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, y'all. I started watching and commenting on Facebook. Oh, okay. Sonny's thankful for Supreme Court today. Yeah, I think a lot of us are. Bonnie says, you're right, Chillie. They're acting like children, having temper tantrums and fights on the playground. Yep. No evictions should be allowed right now. Agree with that. You go and rant, Chillie, as politicians are looking for something to keep them in the news and justify their inflated salaries. Yeah, what I like to do, these guys, they got a decent salary, but they end up getting rich when they're in office. I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal or immoral or fattening, but look at some of their net worth when they started and net worth now. Why don't we make them pay the damn unemployment people for everybody in their district out of their own coffers? I think that would be terrific. Maybe then the sons would get something done. Sick of all those people. Hallelujah, Chillie. Scary, Chillie. Tom says, scary, Chillie ranting on a 65-inch TV. Yeah, I bet it was. I was kind of going off on it this morning. Jason's there. Sold my cruise stock. I think it's going to tank soon. Well, Jason, I hope it doesn't tank, but I think you made a good move. Take that profit and run. What does Sonny say? Sonny says, Jason, don't understand what's kept the stock up so far. That was one of the things I wanted to get Bruce on a show to talk about the stock market. He knows more about it than I do. But I don't understand it. I don't understand how in the world the stock prices have been where they are. Tom Henry said he's ready to book 2024. Let's get some listings. Let's see, 2024. I guess Carnival will probably be the first one out. 24 will be out probably about the first of the year. Some of the other cruise lines are a little bit later. Norwegian's going to be 6 months longer. They're always one of the last to come out with it. Jason says free drink package sounds like it could cause some problems on board the ship. Yeah. If I had a free drink package while on the day, it would have saved me a lot of money, but I would have probably drunk a lot more. So, yeah, they're not going to let me mainline this catheter business. They said no. I can't put the bourbon in there. It's just for the chemo. Man, what can I say? Monday's going to be an interesting day. Bonnie says, I wish they'd raid the governor's mansion. It was awful what they did to that woman and her children. And then DeSantis had a fight with a news reporter about the woman. Man, I tell you what, he just can't seem to keep himself out of trouble. Okay, Rob's, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. We have a family farm in West Virginia, so it's good to go there a few times a year. Rob, I was an old UK guy back in the Middle Ages. I was at UK with Adolf Rupp. That tells you how long ago it's been since I was at UK. Mercy. Conchita's with us. Hey, Conchita, how's things down there in South Florida? Let's see who else is here. Talking about people following rules. All right. Yeah, I heard rumblings of succession and civil war. I mean, that's... don't get me started on that one, too. But anyway. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. I will, of course, keep monitoring things through the weekend. Anything major happens, I'll come back online as soon as possible with information for you. Again, Monday, I plan on doing chemo. I probably can't do it live, but I'm going to tape it at least while I'm in the chemo lab, lounge, whatever we call that thing, while I'm getting chemo, to give you a real firsthand report on how that goes. I'm planning on doing the show Tuesday, but keep in mind, folks, I'm having chemo on Monday. I have no idea yet how it's going to affect me. So if you look for me on Tuesday and you can't find me, figure I'm sick as a dog from the chemo. If not, I'll be here. So that's going to wrap me up for the weekend, guys. Thank you guys all for being with me, and all of you guys that have sent me messages and sent me prayers and everything else. I so appreciate it. It is so helpful to going through the situation I'm going through, to know you've got a big family out there that's thinking about you. And I so appreciate every bit of it. So thank you all for that. I do appreciate it. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with when we go live or when I post videos. And I will see everybody on Tuesday. You guys have a great weekend. As always, stay safe, wear your mask, socially distance, keep your hands clean, all those good things. Stay safe, stay happy, and hopefully we'll all be on a cruise again real soon. This is the Old Fat Travel Guide. I'll see you next time on Chillie's Cruises Travel and Cruise Industry News. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.